Before we get started, I want to invite you to something I'm really excited about. We have our next Rehab Chiro Mastermind Live event coming up this September in New Jersey. If you're a regular listener and you've been enjoying what we teach on this podcast, this is an opportunity you won't want to miss. You can find the registration link and all the details in the show notes. Now, let's get to today's episode. So in today's episode, we talk about why being a world-class clinician gets you stuck as a business owner. So if you don't want the next 30 years to look exactly how the last year went, this episode is perfect for you. When I was in chiropractic school, I really studied clinical mentorship and I studied clinical skills and I took all the seminars and it was my job to become the best possible clinician that I could be. And so I spent 3, 4, 5 years doing that all through school, then after school. And there was a moment when I realized that I was getting really good outcomes with my patients. Even a year or two out of school or when I was in practice on my own, patients were coming to me and I was the guy that they would come to when PT didn't work, when they didn't want to have surgery, when they were like fed up with the general medical system. And I heard over and over and over again that thank you so much for doing what you do. I couldn't get these results anywhere. And so I felt really good about that. The problem was I saw my competition around the corner down the street and I knew, just like you do, that they were not providing the same level of clinical care that I was. Again, I had taken all the seminars. If you're a chiro out there, a PT, the DNS and the McKenzie and the PRIs, and over and over and over again, I spent tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to become a world-class clinician. And I remember specifically the moment. I had a patient come in who had back pain, and she had been to 3 other providers, and her brother-in-law was a chiropractor, but they brought her to me because they thought I could help. And it just so happened that weekend I had gone to McKenzie C. And I'll never forget this because if you know anything about McKenzie, she came in and she didn't respond to flexion, she didn't respond to extension. And so I had just learned like side-lying. And so I tried it with her. She was very flexible. She was a dancer and like that fit that profile. And I remember like that, it resolved her case. And you would think that I felt amazing and so gratified that I had gone to that seminar and able to fix someone where before that weekend I wasn't. But over the next 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months, I started to become quite depressed. Because what I realized was that entire weekend, that entire seminar, really it was helping one person. And while I felt great about that, all of the things I learned only really impacted one person. And I thought that my time and my business and my impact on my community and on my family could be a lot greater than that. And it was in that period of time, I really started to think about me spending all my time, energy, effort, and resources and going to become a better clinician if that was going to be able to provide me and my family and my community the business and the life that I wanted. And slowly but surely I realized that it wasn't. The thing I always kept playing in my head was, right now, let's just say you're better than 90% of the clinicians, or like out of 10 new patients that come in with your current clinical skill set, you'll be able to solve 9 out of 10 of those patients, maybe 9.5 out of 10 of those patients. And maybe by going to 1 seminar or 2 seminars or 3 seminars, maybe once a year, I would be able to solve 1 patient case that I couldn't solve previously. And then it all started to make sense because I would always ask myself, which I'm sure you do too, why do the clinicians down the street from me in my community, who I know and you know, they've been out of school for 20 years, they haven't learned anything new in the last 20 years, they just do heat pack, stim, adjust patients, and sure, do I get some better results in them? I do, but not many. And it was that point where I recognized that my growth as a clinician was going to be very, very small compared to the impact that I could have by learning to run a successful business. It was in that moment that everything changed for me. And so if you're out there right now and you're wondering why you have all these clinical skills, and if you were like me, you were part of the R2P and the DNS, and you did all the things, and you continue to go to all the clinical seminars, and you're wondering why you're not making the money you want, or why you're not leading a business like you want, or you're wondering when it's going to start, or when you can have the freedom in your life to spend time with your family, you don't have to work all the time, and you can still make money. If that's like you, that was me. And it wasn't until I changed my identity and I started to stop thinking myself as a clinician, but I started to think of myself as a chiropractor who now is a business owner. And that shift from becoming a chiropractor to becoming a business owner who happens to own a business that does chiropractic changed everything. So here's the problem. Many people I talk to are frustrated and they're honestly like angry with chiropractic school. Why didn't they teach us business? Well, that's not their job. Their job was to provide you an education to help you become a really good doctor. And honestly, even that is up for interpretation. I remember Dr. Nick, my bone and joint professor, came in one day and he said, listen, our job is not to make you excellent. Our job is to make you pass boards and make sure you're not dangerous. After that, it's on you. That's what chiropractic school is for. And so if anyone out there is thinking that they're going to build this world-class life by only being a good clinician and not really understanding the rest of it, I think that you're really, really mistaken. When you are in school, you are rewarded not for being an entrepreneur, you are rewarded for the complete opposite. Because if you think about it, most successful entrepreneurs, they see the world differently. They bend the reality to fit them. They are good with rejection. They honestly get the wrong answer a lot and are good with that because they iterate and they go and they go and they go. But think about being successful in school. Think about being a successful student. The system is literally set up for you to do what you're told, study what they tell you, and then go take a test. And when we take those tests in school, most of them are multiple choice, where if it's not A, it's B. If it's not B, it's C. If it's not C, it's D. Well, business doesn't work that way. In fact, business rewards you, the most successful business owners, it rewards you for getting the wrong answer but iterating fast. You and I both know if you get the wrong answer enough times on board exams, you don't get your license. So literally the thing that will help you in business is the thing that would have made you fail in school. So we are all programmed in a completely different environment, which goes back to the reason why this is so important, because we have to be able to shift our identity from being that really good student who followed directions, who was able to take a test and pass exams and do the thing we're supposed to do, to a business owner that's got to go try new things that won't be perfect, that will fail and then learn and then grow. But the reality is that being a world-class clinician will get you stuck. And so if you've listened to my content for a while, one of the reasons I think we've had success is because I am you. I am the person who invested all of this time, effort, and energy in becoming world-class. But I am also you in understanding that that was the thing that got me stuck. And the only difference of where I sit today versus someone that's listening to this who doesn't have the life, the business that they want, is that I was able to change the identity of who I saw in the mirror. I had to kill the old version of Justin. I had to kill the version of Justin that got excited with another clinical seminar. I had to kill the version that thought that if I got one more technique, it would cure all my problems. Many people are searching in the wrong places. They think the next dollar, the life they want, is because they'll become world-class at being a clinician. My friends, if you're making under $50,000 a month, you don't have a team that you like, it is not that. I promise you, it's not that. If this is resonating with you, one reason is because right now, being really good at your job, being a good clinician, is doing a few things. The first one is it's making you feel indispensable. It's making you feel like you're the only one that can help treat patients. It's making you feel like, how would I ever have someone work in this way? Well, being a player and being a coach is absolutely not the same thing. It's also making you feel really burnt out because you're such a good clinician and you do something so spectacular. You now live in a prison. That's called your work. Because if you're not there at 7 a.m. to treat patients and you're not there at 7 p.m. to treat patients, who else is going to do it? And for many of you out there that have young families, you're now giving up the thing that you want most, which is to be there when your kid wakes up or put them to sleep, because you've got to be in the office, because now you become a slave to the business that you never actually wanted. And because of these clinical skills that you keep investing and keep doing, you feel like you've got to go use them over and over and over again. Again, I'm here to tell you that's what got you here, but that's what got you stuck. I remember being in school and it just made sense to me that all of the students that were good clinically were going to be really good at business. It just made sense. There's nothing that could be further from the truth. If you're a world-class clinician, that means you're good at treating patients. Separately from that, to run a world-class business that puts more money in your pocket, gets you more time on your calendar, and finally builds a business and life that you want, the clinical skills that got you here are also the thing that will never get you there. So if you're out there and you are genuinely a world-class clinician, but your business hasn't moved in years, I want to challenge you a little bit. If you're listening to this, if you're watching this, I want to challenge you. I want to ask you, if it stays exactly the same 5 years from today, how are you going to feel? If nothing changes, if you keep investing in your clinical skills, if you never become the leader you're supposed to be, if you never learn how to hire and how to market, if you keep thinking sales is sleazy, your life will look exactly the same today as it will in 5 years. And then 5 years from that, it will look the same. And my question to you, is that what you really want? Because yes, you are above average as a clinician, but your business, more than likely, is at best, it's average. At best. Because if you're a solo provider right now, on average, the research shows small business in America, the majority, if they make it, they make about $300,000 to $350,000 a year. Now, some of you listening or watching this aren't even there, and that's okay. But many of you who have a full schedule, who might be charging the right price, but have never grown the business, you are by definition average. And all I know and all I'm going to challenge you to think about is, did you get into this to be average? Did the impact you want to have on your family, on yourself, on your community, did it just want to be average? Because I don't think that's true. And so if you listen to all this or you're watching this on YouTube and anything resonated with you, if you know that you're a world-class clinician and you really are the best kept secret in your town and you finally want to make a change, as I'm recording this video, we are in live event season for my September live event. And what I'm doing is I'm giving away some of my non-member guest tickets now. So if you're at all interested in learning more about how we might be able to help, all you got to do is click the link in the show notes. You can schedule a call with our team. We can see if it's a good fit. No pressure to do anything, but maybe it's time to change. And so if that's at all interesting to you, I'd love for you to schedule a call with our team. And again, if it's a good fit, maybe we'll see you at our event.